The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
8:42. You know, it started off just nice and sunny, and all of it, I just looked out the window for the first time in a while, and I realized, oh, there's no more blue out there. It's all gray. Joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning, it is Mike Coonert down in the Roseburg area on the Wake Up Call. Mike, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me. Absolutely.
Mike is the owner, proprietor, chief bottle washer for UMPQUA Survival down in the Roseburg area. So I guess the question here is, you know, people think of survival stores and the like, and I think maybe they have kind of this whole idea of, well, people that are interested in survival are these paranoid folks, and they're building bunkers out in the middle of the desert and so on and so forth. And that's not really the case, is it, Mike?
Well, I wouldn't say that all of our customers are not those people. We do have some people that are concerned about different things. The majority of our customers are worried about natural disasters, terrorism, earthquakes. I just read in the online this morning something about a volcano that's supposed to erupt off the Oregon coast, that sort of thing.
Right. And at what point did you say, because you're an electrician by trade, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been an electrical contractor for about 40 years.
Okay. At what point did you say, or what made you say, okay, survival kits, survival food, yeah, that might be a good business. What kind of pushed you in that direction?
Well, it kind of mutated from my other business. I've been doing electrical contracting for different governmental agencies for, about 35 years since the mid. And I noticed about 3 or 4 years ago there were a lot of generator jobs going out for bid, backup generators, and this is city, county, state, federal, military, FAA, everybody was putting in generators. And so I had a building that I own that, because of the economy, had been empty for a while, so I decided I'd put a combination generator, solar, micro-hydro store in, and the rest of it just kind of followed along. People came in and wanted to know if I could carry food and books and first aid kits, and it just kind of grew to what it is today from that.
Did you ask these different contracts that you were getting, did you ask them why now are you thinking is the right time to put a generator in?
Yes, and I never really got any straight answers. I think terrorism might have something to do with it, losing the grid for an extended period of time. NASA put out a report about 4 or 5 years ago about a major solar event that could happen the early part of next year. That could have something to do with it. The grid is old. Most of it's 50 to 70 years old. It's way overloaded. I think it's a combination of everything.
Yeah, they're talking about solar flare. I mean, we've actually done different things about solar flares, EMPs, and the like on the Wake Up Call, actually several times. So, you know, so this business sort of grew, it sounds like, almost organically.
Yeah, kind of. I've started a few businesses over the years. This is the first one where I actually learned how to do the business from what the customers told me. As they came in the store, they told me, well, I wish you carried this kind of water filter, or this kind of first aid kit, or this kind of long-term food, and or this book, and we just kept ordering things as they requested them, and that's how we got up to the inventory that we're at now. We started out, like I mentioned originally, just preparing for off-grid and backup power generation.
And it just kind of grew from there. What is the most common thing, I guess, that people would come to you for? Is it the different types of storable or, you know, long shelf life foods? Because I know you have different dehydrated and freeze-dried foods and things like that. Is it more that, or is it other things?
The food is good sellers. Our biggest seller is the generation equipment. We also have a lot of different first aid kits, medic bags, that sort of water purification. The first thing that people are concerned about if they do lose power is you need water first if you don't need a first aid kit. So you need to find some way to get purified water. If the power goes down, you've only got a couple of days, even if you're on a city water system, but before they drain the tanks and are unable to pump up to fill the tanks again. And if you're on a well, you don't have any way to back it up unless you have a generator. So you need to worry about basically water, food, and then probably energy would be third.
Mike, in what area or what product in particular has technology made advances or developments in that blows you away? Is there some aspect where when you started looking at it, it wasn't so much, but now they've really kicked it up?
Are you talking about products we sell, or
I'm talking about products you sell or products that you hope to sell someday?
Well, we're getting more and more access to like radios that are either solar powered or magneto powered. They work with a hand crank. They don't even require batteries. The same with lights, and they're getting smaller, more compact, and less expensive all the time. That is kind of interesting for what we sell. How much you can get in one little box on the electronics part.
Yeah, I know that. For instance, I have an emergency radio at home, and it's a small portable one. I would say, no longer than probably 10 inches by 10 inches, something like that. But I mean, it has an alarm on it. It has a flashlight on it. It has a warning flasher on it. It gets all the different bands, including the weather channel and the like, and it's and it's one of the hand crank ones. You just crank the thing up, and you've got a half an hour's worth of juice, and you can also run or charge, I guess, if you wanted to, like a cell phone off the thing. And I remember when I saw that, it's like, God, this is amazing. I mean, you literally you couldn't ask for much more from a radio than that.
Right. Yeah, they're incredible. And if you have shortwave on them, then you're not at the mercy of receiving local stations. You can find out what's going on all over the world.
Yeah, exactly. Generally, we talk to James Roddy. We've had him on a number of times. They call him the prophet of doom and the like. When he was with the Oregon Department of Geology, and he was always saying, you always have to have. You need to have, every family needs to be prepared, particularly in terms of the earthquake, because we could be off the grid for, not just 3 days, but for weeks. Typically, the folks that you deal with on a regular basis, are they just preparing for a short-term 3-day thing, or are they more likely to be, putting stuff away for the possibility of having to deal with life on their own for a couple of months?
Actually, both. The local law enforcement down here, they're customers of ours also. They said if a major event happens, there's not going to be any 911 to dial. You're going to be on your own for at least 3 days. You're not going to have an ambulance. You're not going to have a fire truck. You're not going to have a policeman. So you need to be prepared for that. Some of them are looking up to 3 months without power. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if you lose the grid, you can't buy gas. You can't go to the store and buy anything. So much depends on electricity. There's really nothing you can do until the power comes back on.
Yeah. The different solar, because I've noticed in some of the different magazines we got, matter of fact, it's funny because I just got a thing in the mail the other day called Emergency Essentials that was sent to us, and I was going through the thing. What is the largest solar generation device you have? Now, I've seen the ones that'll charge a cell phone over the course of 8 or 9 hours and some of the other things. What's the largest solar generating device that they have? I mean, a solar panel that generates electricity. What's the largest one that a person can get on the general consumer market?
Are you talking about a single panel or a system?
Yeah. Okay. So, can you get a system, a photovoltaic system? Really?
Sure. We have a number of people that live completely off grid with just microhydro and solar. They have little brooks on their property which will run microhydro. It charges a set of batteries. Mm-hmm. When the creeks dry up during the winter or during the summer, then they switch over to solar. And in fact, an employee of mine has lived off grid for 20 years.
Seriously?
And so, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now,
you need to have a heat resource and a cooking resource. You can't do enough unless you have a huge system on solar with that, mm-hmm. or microhydro. But if you can use wood for heat and cooking, you can take care of the rest of your needs with microhydro and solar. Okay, so really then what draws the juice is just the heat for cooking, I would assume. I mean, if they're living off grid. Yeah, anything that creates heat draws the most electricity.
How big a solar array then do they have? I mean, is it just, if you were going to say it's like the size of an office door, or how big is that solar panel? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, each panel is about the size of a door. That's a good analogy.
Mm-hmm.
He has 16 of those panels that powers his house,
Mm-hmm.
and he has one microhydro system that creates roughly the same amount of power. And from there, it goes through a charge controller. He has a bank of 24 batteries,
Mm-hmm.
and they just basically keep those charged up, and then he has an inverter that converts the 24-volt DC to AC, so he can run his lights, TV, fans, anything else he needs like that. And then, like I mentioned, he cooks with wood and heats with wood.
Amazing. Mike Kunert is our guest on the Wake Up Call, and we're up against the clock, Mike. UMPQUA Survival is the name of the business. Where, if people want to find you on the web, where can they go?
UMPQUASurvival.com, and we're 2 miles east of downtown Roseburg on the Diamond Lake Boulevard, the highway out to Diamond Lake.
All right. Mike, thanks for joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. We appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thanks a lot.
All right, you take care.